Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to News Talk with yours truly, Chris Anu, as usual, coming to you from the great state of Texas, precisely Houston, Texas. It's a privilege to be with you tonight, and I come as usual with exciting, informative, and educative information. Do me the favor, as usual, by hitting your share button. Let everybody out there know the anchor man is live. Is live. Thank you for tuning in. Again, do me the favor, hit your share button. If you are watching by way of Facebook, YouTube, do me the favor, hit that share button. And I'd like to welcome those joining by way of satellite television from Africa, all of Africa. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I bring you some very exciting information today on the subject of admissions into the universities in the United States of America. An expert that I met somewhere is going to be joining me later on in the program, and we're going to be talking about what they offer and how it may be helpful for your family, your siblings back in the continent on the having admission in the universities in the USA, and also having a visa with which to travel to the US for college. So that is what I bring to you today. Please go ahead once more, hit your share button as I come to you right back with my monologue for tonight. Stay tuned. All right, once more, thanks for joining me tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The Cameroon government is sitting before the United Nations Human Rights Tribunal in the International United Nations Committee for Human Rights today through November the 22nd to answer questions about human rights abuses, particularly torture in the hands of Cameroon's so-called security forces. That is the main subject I bring to you today. We will also, with my panel, be diving into the prophecy, I call it prophecy, by Dieudonné Essamba about a bloodbath in Cameroon in the absence of a transition plan, that which replaces incumbent Paul Biya in La République du Cameroon. We're going to be looking at this and, of course, other subjects. And of course, also the change in leadership in the USA. The change of leadership in the USA. We are now living in the time and reign of Donald Trump. Though Trump is not yet in office, we are already seeing movements across the globe. The change in balance, diplomatic balance across the globe as nations make movement to toe the line with Donald Trump. These are some of the subjects that I bring to you today. But also, again, at the end of the show, I'm going to be having a guest who will be joining me to talk about education on, admissions for students in Africa who want to study in the USA. That will be very, very educative and informative. We're not asking you to pay for any service. I just thought this is human service that ABS can do to those of you with prospects, with hopes of traveling to the USA for studies. So please stay put. I'm going to be right back. And when I come back, I bring you my monologue for today.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricatv@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricatv@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I come to you with my first monologue for today, which is titled Cameroon in the Docket of the United Nations. And of course, that docket of the United Nations is that of the United Nations Human Rights Commission. Cameroon, as I said earlier, is appearing before the docket today to answer charges on torture. The United Nations Committee Against Torture is currently reviewing 6 nations, among them Cameroon, as part of its critical mission to assess compliance with the United Nations Convention Against Torture. This rigorous examination, which started from October 28 and ends on November 22nd, represents the United Nations commitment to holding countries accountable for human rights abuses. And the committee is placing a spotlight on Cameroon's mounting record of alleged abuse, especially by its so-called security forces. For Cameroon, the United Nations scrutiny comes at a particularly volatile moment as the country faces intensifying allegations of brutality against both its civilians and political dissidents. Among the high-profile cases under review are the tragic torture and murder of Martinez Zogo, a journalist who spoke out about corruption, and the brutal assault of musician Longue, punished for his public criticism of the government. Both cases are widely seen as stark examples of the government's alleged policy of silencing dissent by any means necessary. Even more distressing, however, is a broader conflict unfolding in the Ambazonian regions, where the population faces relentless repression. Since 2016, Cameroon has been embroiled in a bitter conflict with the people of Ambazonia, a conflict rooted in the people's demand for independence from La République du Cameroon. In these regions, the United Nations is closely examining disturbing reports of routine torture, arbitrary detention, and other forms of inhumane treatment committed by Cameroonian soldiers. For the people of Ambazonia, many of whom have reported abuses like mass arrest, extrajudicial killings, and displacement, this United Nations review may represent a crucial moment in highlighting their plight before the international community. The United Nations hearings have also allowed NGOs to weigh in with human rights advocates, urging the United Nations to hold Cameroon accountable, not only for these specific incidents, but for what appears to be an entrenched system of impunity within its security forces. NGOs have presented evidence pointing to a long-standing culture within the Cameroonian military and police, plus the gendarmes, where torture and intimidation are routinely used to maintain control over citizens and suppress political opposition. This culture of abuse, activists argue, has persisted, largely due to the government's lack of transparent investigations and its routine dismissal of allegations as unsubstantiated or politically motivated. The United Nations Committee's review of Cameroon is a much-needed intervention at a critical moment, but it will only be meaningful if it leads to concrete actions that curb the pervasive culture of abuse within Cameroonian security forces. Without a clear mandate for accountability, this process risks being reduced to yet another bureaucratic exercise with little impact on the ground. The international community must pressure Cameroon to not only investigate, but also prosecute and punish those responsible for acts of torture and inhumane treatment. To underscore its commitment to human rights and demonstrate the gravity of these crimes, the United Nations should go beyond passive observation and recommend immediate arrest of individuals known to have perpetrated or ordered acts of torture in Cameroon's infamous facilities, including the SAID and Condenghe prisons. These perpetrators are not faceless or anonymous. They are well-known figures who hold positions of authority and influence. By enabling this brutality to go unchecked, they bring disgrace not only to their country, but to the entire international community. Arrest and direct consequences would send a clear signal. The United Nations will not tolerate tortures to operate with impunity under its watch. Besides, if Cameroon continues to defy human rights norms, the United Nations must call for international sanctions strictly enforced by its member nations. These sanctions should specifically target officials and institutions linked to human rights abuses, cutting them off from financial and diplomatic resources. A mere slap on the wrist or symbolic condemnation will not be enough to deter future abuse. Only with concrete, painful sanctions can the United Nations demonstrate it has teeth and is willing to protect the vulnerable populations it was created to serve. In recent years, the United Nations has become the subject of growing cynicism, criticized for its inability to take decisive action in crisis situations. It risks becoming a shadow of its original purpose if it fails to confront human rights violations in rogue states like Cameroon. If the organization cannot provide concrete measures to protect those suffering under brutal regimes like Cameroon, one must question its very relevance. This is a defining moment for the UN. Either it demonstrates that it is a defender of human rights, or it admits it has no power to uphold its principles. The time has come for the UN to restore its reputation and assert itself as a force for justice, not a platform for hollow declarations. Without strong action against Cameroon, the United Nations risks becoming a symbol of inaction and impotence in the face of oppression. Cameroon's victims deserve justice and reparation, and the United Nations must remain relevant and ensure that such justice and reparations are made available to the victims. And that is my talking point on this subject. I am being joined, ladies and gentlemen, by Dr. Atienjo and Jackson Omega. If you can adjust your camera, Dr. Atienjo, and focus, bend it down slightly. All right. I hope you can hear me. Good to have you, sir. You have listened to me. My talking point on this human rights, United Nations human rights hearing going on at The Hague, precisely on Cameroon, the torture in Cameroon. And this is coming on the heels of the recent exposure of the torture in said Yaoundé of musician Longue. We've also had other citizens who disappeared, never seen again. We only know, it was only revealed later they were killed within the confines or in the hands of Cameroon officials. Within the context of the Ambazonia independence struggle, many Ambazonians have been killed in a similar way under severe torture. In fact, we have seen Ambazonian detainees chained to hospital beds, people who cannot escape, people who don't have the ability to run, to escape. They are chained on hospital beds, and we have actually seen them rotting on those beds, and they are chained there. This is torture. Do you hope to see anything come out of these United Nations hearings, Dr. Atianjo? Doctor, check your microphone. It appears we cannot hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
All right, perfect. I can hear you now. Do you hope to see anything coming out of these human rights hearings by the United Nations Human Rights Committee?
Well, I understand that. I would say yes and no. And yes is because of the fact that they have dragged Cameroon to the Hague, where they are going to interrogate them about their human rights history. So this is going to expose them to the international community to know that this is a banana republic or a rogue nation that has been tormenting a lot of people. And it's just that many people have not really brought out a lot of torture or stories about torture that have taken place in Cameroon. And I might take this opportunity to remind us here that about 5 years ago, when the revolution started, or after the revolution started, they went to Ngi, LGA, and 5 young boys who were working at a building site were picked up. And amongst these 5 boys, 2 of them were embezzlers. They picked up these boys and labeled them Amber Boys, drove all the way to Mbengui, went to Bali, and all of them were shot. A cousin of mine was killed in this act. And the way they killed them was it was a heinous act, because the shooting, it was not just something that they stood from somewhere and shot them, but they took them and shot some of them from the mouth, some were shot from the anus. That is the history that the Cameroon has always had all this time. So this is going to expose the nation of Cameroon as a terrorist nation, a nation that has dwelled on torture, and a nation that does not have any regard for humanity. And then on the other part, to answer your question, the other part, no, is that there are no binding rules that they are going to implement on Cameroon, because Cameroon has always shown that ability or that habit of stubbornness. They have disobeyed the international community on several occasions. Calls have been made by the international organizations, and they have not yielded to all these calls, simply because they have countries like France supporting them and giving them the courage to disobey international law. So yes, they are going to be exposed. No, no binding rules are going to be applied, or punishment is going to be meted on Cameroon.
How about, in my monologue, I talked about the need for the United Nations to consider some sanctions against the perpetrators, because those perpetrators are actually known. Take, for instance, you call Longue to pinpoint those who tortured him, He will be able to do that, and so other victims will be able to do that. How about the idea of the United Nations identifying those individuals, putting out their names, and asking Cameroon to put them behind bars, and if not, pass some sanctions on Cameroon?
Well, the Cameroonian government is a kind of government that has coexisted with France. They have a lot of schemes that can actually implicate their own victims. Like Longe Longe, you saw in a video that was circulating in the social media about him doing money laundering. That they caught him with a lot of with money, and they caught him with some drugs and all those things like that. That is the label and the premise on which the Cameroonian government is going to sit on, and then use that as an opportunity to defend themselves. And with the support of France, what
Yeah,
do you
but they
think
cannot
they?
defend themselves. You catch somebody committing a crime. It doesn't give you the right to torture that person. It gives you the right to arrest that person. It's not an excuse.
Yes, it is a lawless country, which I mean, the regime. The regime has been very, very. It's a rook regime and a lawless country where they can do anything and survive with the aid of their international partners like France, because they will stand with them in any situation. Look at the country. The country is broken. Is a kind of bankrupt at this moment, but you still hear evidence of loans being given to the Cameroonian government by the international organizations, which are led. Some of the institutions are led by France, and all these deals are deals that are supported by France. France stands by them and signs the collaterals for them to actually take loans, because by now that government should have been drowning, but they still are able to borrow money and pay salaries. And I don't know how long that is going to happen. But I'm just saying this to say that the Cameroonian government is being supported by those that who stand in position of authority, who should have said this is the right thing to do, but they are not doing that because of the benefits that they are getting from that rogue government.
Let me turn to Jackson there. And Jackson, Atienjo is right. There are many cases out there that have not been discovered by anybody. But the Cameroon government, they know them because they have records of who they have arrested, they have tortured. My sister, for example, there is no tape out there, no recording out there showing her torture as that of Longe Longe. But I'm telling you, she went through the same level of torture where they climb on her legs, got a female police officer to sit on the chair on top of her legs, and then they made sure that the bag was leaning on the wall so she couldn't resist the beating on the feet. I mean, that's my own sister. Now, these stories, there are no images out there, but the victims are many. Jackson, what do you think the United Nations should be doing to the victims? Should they be calling for compensation? Compensation to all these victims? We can't hear you. It appears you are muted.
Thank you, Comrade Chris. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Thank you.
Yes. Before I get to answer you, I just want to add something to what Dr. Fidelis was saying about the I come here today, but because of the situation happening in Guy. Just as he said, one of those that were killed is cousin to me. That thing is still a trauma in the whole of our family, and Ngi in particular. Those guys that were killed, and we did a mass burial. Actually, the Nkada president, that's the president of the Ngi Cultural and Development Association, was the one who personally went and embarked on a mass burial in Bali. So these are documented evidence of how kids that were going about their normal activity were picked up and then went later on killed and dumped in Bali. And there's another serious case that we keep forgetting because I'm a little bit worried because we're talking about Longe and the rest, but it seems like everybody forgot about Wazizi, who is also from Guy. For you guys to know that he's
Right,
from Guy.
Wazizi, and again, quite a number of cases.
Yes, quite a number of cases, and this guy died. So
Even
now,
Samsoya went
and
through
some
the same
sorry,
experience and died.
yes.
Mami
Then
Api and all
Ngabo,
those.
yes, Ngabo is a different level, and then with
Correct.
the with the baby matter and others, the list is very 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 long, inexhaustive. But now to come back to what you were saying, the unfortunate thing is that just as Dr. Fidele was trying to say that France is having I think France has a veto power at the United Nations. Yeah, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And with that
You're
veto
right.
power, yes, they are capable of protecting the remnants of their colonies, like Cameroon. Because France is losing grip fast in a very fast pace in Africa. So the rest that is left, like Cameroon, they will do everything to protect them. And with the veto power, uh, I don't think so much is going to be done. It is sad that we are so pessimistic about a United Nation, a body that was put in place for things like this. But to me, I would say that United Nations, the good news, the only good thing I see coming out of this is that at least they are hearing for PR purposes. It is going to throw more light on the situation that is happening with Cameroon and the people in Cameroon. But out of that, it's just going to be a normal hearing like other hearings that we've heard at the United Nations. Because if they want to go with a heavy hand on Cameroon, trust me, France will be there immediately to veto whatever decisions or decision that can be taken against Cameroon. And in very rare cases, except the 5 members of the United Security Council agree on something. And most of the time, they agree on stuff that affects their personal interests. That's how diplomacy has always worked at the United Nations. And you understand why the United Nations is a toothless bulldog today. And all they do are conferences, hearings, and exposures. I don't even hear about. Is it? I don't know if it's Ban Ki-moon that is still the Secretary General of the United Nations,
It's
because that
Guterres.
body. Okay. Oh, whatever. Yeah. Okay, the other guy. Yeah. So that body is going down into the abyss today. But we are happy that at that level there is some exposure of Cameroon. There's some exposure of the human rights activities of that government that is going on that has affected thousands and thousands of lives in that country.
Well, that is it. Now, what would you be suggesting? In Cameroon, you have so many human rights organizations, the Agbo Balas, and so on and so forth. I think Paul Aya also operated a human rights organization, I believe. What do you think should be their role in making sure that these cases are the people are well sensitized on what this hearing can do?
Two things I'll handle in two ways. The first thing is what they can do is to document if they are transparent enough. Documentation. Maybe sometimes these things we might use them, but out of that, there is not much they can do. And I will tell you that most of the human rights institutions that you find in Cameroon, there are people that are looking for employment, source of money, because those are NGOs that are being funded. They go out there and look for funds. And as a human rights body, You get funding from international bodies, and then you have some staff, and you get a report, you send it to them. You understand that there is nobody in Cameroon, be you human right or activist, that you can stand to and face that regime. You will be taken to the guillotine. And so some of the human right people we see in Cameroon today, they are mostly for having employment and having a business. And you saw what happened to Paula, yeah. You see what has happened to him now. He had a
Right.
he had a he had a, he had a his human rights institution was very outspoken. It was putting out these things. But did you hear about it anymore? They shut him down.
Right.
Literally. Yes.
Brother
I
Chenjo, what is your take on that?
Yeah, just to add on what Chairman Jackson said here, I would tell you that there's no genuine human rights association that can function in Cameroon independently. Most of these human rights organizations that are in Cameroon have something to do with the government. And you shouldn't be surprised to know that some of them are planted by the government to represent some kind of bodies that can actually check do the checks and balances, which is not the case because they are being censored by the government. Whatever they do, they are censored. They kind of take note of everything that they are doing, and if it is something that is going to portray the image of Cameroon negatively, what they do is that they censor it and make you to sense things that are not going to cause any damage to the country. So Cameroon doesn't have honest or independent human rights associations that can actually stand and challenge the government. It is not possible. And I'm also talking here as a victim of torture. On the 27th of December 2017, I was in Cameroon. That is when I went for my late
I remember
father,
that, yes.
late father's memorial in Bamley. I was tortured. My entire family was tortured. The beating, standing on the feet of somebody and beating with matches and hitting your face with the base of the gun. That is the experience I went through. Under the torture, I was tortured by the 10, a mix. My family was tortured by a mix of 10 military officers, a mix of police officers, military, army, as well as gendarmes. So I am an example. I'm a victim of what torture is all about, and I've experienced it, and I know that is a country because when I was tortured, I was taken to the military hospital that is located at the station in Bamenda, and I was visited by the Legion Commander at that time in the Northwest, and they used to join the Legion Commander and Bafusam. I don't know how those the appellations, how they call them, whether it's a battalion or whatever. So I was visited and I asked a question. Even the governor, Lele Afrik, was there. He came to and visited me. And when they came there, I asked them one question which sent them away, sent them apart. What the question was, the gentleman, the military officer who led our torture in Bamley, we heard that this guy killed somebody 3 days before the day that we were tortured. And I asked him, did you visit the family of that young man who was tortured and killed? Or did you just come here because you've learned that I'm an American citizen and I'm going to report the situation to the American embassy in Yaoundé? So he said, "Oh no, we are going to take care of it. Don't worry about. We'll take care of the bills." I said, "You are not going to take. What bills are we talking about here? I'm talking about something that happened and somebody died, and you did not take any action. But you come here simply because you know that I'm an American citizen." And I told right in front of him that I was going to call the American authorities. So, yes. This is a situation that is happening, and you don't know thousands of cases that are being hidden, even though they pretended to me that they arrested those guys that tortured us. But the next day, those guys were freed and transferred from Northwest region to some other places. So it's a country that is a failed country with a poorly trained military that only embarks on torture to make their voices heard.
Well, you may go back to Jackson. Jackson, how would what would you advise people who have been tortured in Cameroon to approach this? Because at the end of the day, so many people who have been tortured, their voices in their cases may be lost. What would you be suggesting to them to do? Let me start with you, Dr. Atienjo, since you were there.
Yes, I would suggest when we always have a statement here that we use it in the United States to say, when you see it, report, let it be known. When you experience torture, it is incumbent for you to report. It doesn't matter how you're going to do it, but if you can report to many associations, document it and report it and make it established. Even if they send it out one day or they don't send it, but I believe that one day that information is going to go out there. And the world today is a global village because of the social media. If something happens back in Ambazonia today, we in minutes we get minute by minute reports of what is going on. You can equally call and report to the authorities that be, or report to the Ambazonia struggle, the leaders, and so forth. And all this, if that information is sent out there, documented and reported, I think we're going to propagate that information and then make reference to those incidents and then make people know that there's a torture case in this place. This has happened, this has happened, this has happened. And I like it. One thing that we've always been stressing is the fact that how is this reporting? How does it need to be done? You need to do it based on the fact that the structure that is in place, because all Ambazonians are, they have local governments and they have counties that they can report incidents like this to. So it would be good for them to actually identify their counties or their local governments, report these incidents to them, and then they can bring it up, and then we put it out there in the social media and people are going to see it. So, like the situation that happened in Guy, I mean, many ugly things, terrible things have happened in Guy. Like the case of those two women who were sitting, and a military officer had his gun, and he complained that he had not tested his gun for a while. He took this gun and shot two women.
And tested on the woman, on the lady.
On two women, yes, tested his gun on these two women. It came to us, to the LGA of Ngi, and we sent the information out there. That is the way they have to report. When you are tortured, don't hide it. Don't hide it. Go out there and make your voice heard. We know that they might be monitoring you, but at least you can whisper it to somebody who is going to send that information to us. And then we'll be able to send it out there to with the appropriate labels.
Well, let me get over to Jackson and get your take on this.
Yes, that is just one means of getting that information out that Dr. Atienjo just mentioned. But I think that we also have international human rights institutions that are known for the fact that they report and document. We know the incident of is it the Norwegian human rights team that was chased out of Cameroon one time like that. These individuals and organizations, they have a link that you could quickly upload information and delete it from your phones. You see, the cell phones that we carry around today, the smartphones, these are very, very crucial instruments in documentation and reporting today. And that explain why for some time the Cameroon government shut down internet, and there was a national war against smartphones. They were searching smartphones and going to into the profiles of individuals because they understand how much information and how quickly information can be transmitted from one cell phone to the web and to the whole world. So we just have to continuously tell individuals that when you see something, grab your smartphone, record it, send it out, delete it. That's the only way. If you look at Charles Taylor, it took how many years for him to be convicted? It's
Right.
because some of the information that was against him was documented and kept until when that moment came, they used that information to prosecute him. So even though these people are in power and they think that they are the almighties at this moment, but if this information is documented and kept at this time, there will be a moment in time that they have to answer to their crimes.
All right. When we come back, I would like us to delve briefly into this new leadership in the USA, talking about Donald Trump and when he talks about foreign wars, stopping or ending foreign wars. What does that mean? What does that mean to Africa? And precisely, Ambazonia. Please stay put.
During primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com.
Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country.
All right, all right.
We made history for a
ladies
reason
and
tonight,
gentlemen,
and the
we all know there is a new sheriff in town, a new sheriff in town. Of course, I'm talking about Donald J. Trump, second coming to the White House. During his campaign, he talked so much about ending foreign wars, ending foreign wars. Why many people will agree that he was directing that rhetoric to Russia, Ukraine, and Israel, Palestine. We also know that there are so many wars and conflicts in Africa, Ambazonia being just one of them. How does Trump's effort to end foreign wars extend to La République du Cameroon, Ambazonia? Trump is in the books as being the only American leader, let me say Western leader in that matter, who sanctioned Cameroon at the beginning of this conflict. Trump withdrew military support from Cameroon because Cameroon was using American equipment meant to fight Boko Haram in the north, to fight Ambazonia, and Trump withdrew that. Trump also took out Cameroon from AGOA, American Free Trade Zone, and Cameroon is still fanning these sanctions. I want to bring in my panel again to tell me what they think about when Trump says ending foreign wars to America. How should that include or extend to conflict and war zones to Africa, Ambazonia in particular? Dr. Atienjo, let me start with you, please.
Thank you, Comrade Chris. I would like this to be known, in addition to the fact that he suspended Cameroon from AGOA. Trump is the only president who stood right there at the United Nations and made a very strong statement that was directed to the authorities in Cameroon. Yes, about the government of Cameroon being a government that is ruling with a tight fist, a government that is a government that is not complying with international laws as well as human rights abuse. So that is the only president that has stood there in the United Nations and made such a very strong and direct comment about Cameroon. So, and this is very glaring. It's an example because the coming of Trump is something that is going to bring them to revisit the situation in Cameroon, especially the situation of Ambazonia. Because for him to come back and learn that the situation in Ambazonia is deteriorating, I think that that is going to even push him, make him to make harder pushes towards the Cameroonian authorities, because there have been calls for a dialogue, an inclusive dialogue, with the main objective of addressing the root cause of the problem in Cameroon. But the Cameroonian government has been playing tricks. They have been running away. They'll go and contact the Swiss government. They will organize things. They will withdraw. They will contact the Canadian. They will organize. And when they get to a point where they're about to do something, they withdraw from it and declare that they did not do anything. So I think this is the time that this administration, the new administration, is going to bring Cameroon, bring them on the table and tell them to sit down and fix things and get things fixed with the Ambazonian people. Because the suffering has been so much that our people are suffering on daily basis. Our people do not, their daily life has been a very huge struggle for our people. And I don't think that with the present administration, there's going to be, I think that there's going to be a very serious, a dramatic change or shift of things. Because he is not only saying about foreign wars, talking about, I know that there are stakes, huge stakes involved in the Ukraine war, huge stakes involved in the Middle East, Israel and Palestine, because of the billions that the American government has been spending on these wars. I know that there are stakes. This has affected the economy of the United States very dramatically. So, but I know that with this, it is going to trickle down to our own situation in Ambazonia, given that he had already paid attention to it. So more attention is going to be paid to that struggle. And I believe that some good news, positive news, is going to be brought on the table.
What do you think? What is your take, Jackson?
Yes, my take here is a little bit different. Different for the fact that it's rather unfortunate that we are sitting here talking about matters that concern our era where we come from, and we think that it's on a foreign country that is supposed to come and help fix the problem. There is something basically wrong, fundamentally wrong with the black race. And I don't sit here and understand and comprehend why. We have citizens that are petrified, traumatized, yet a government cannot sit down to fix these problems. We see in every developed country, the people, the government, they sit down and fix problems. I saw a video where Macron, who is protecting those dictators in Africa, was answerable to a passerby somebody just standing, asking him questions, tough questions, cut him and enforced his questions. He stood there and tried to explain and answer. When would that happen in Cameroon and other African countries? Now we're here thinking that a change in regime in any developed country is going to help or not help. You know, it's very sad. That aside, I think the first Trump administration was the one that started the TPS to add to a laundry list of some of the things that they did. But I know that the Biden administration continued on it. So with his ascension to power, I don't really want to say much about it because much is at the level of international diplomacy. But it gives us, the oppressed and the people that are war-stricken, an opportunity to breathe and hope. Let's see if that hope is going to come to fruition at this point. But I still think that it's rather unfortunate that we have to be at this point where we are. Thank you.
We have read about 2 or 3 tweets from Ambassador Thibault Naj, suggesting that the Trump administration is going to be more friendly to Ambazonia than the Biden administration that did nothing for the 4 years it has been in power. But he has also at the same time called for unity of within the Ambazonian movement, Dr. Atienjo. Do you see that unity happening?
Yes, I see unity happening. I mean, sometimes when there are factions in a movement like ours, these factions bring different energies or different levels of energy, which can actually complement and help a lot of things that are happening in this in our struggle. Because you see, they always say 2 heads are better than 1. So with them, if they see, because once there is a common objective for our struggle, like the common objective is Ambazonia independence, freedom of our people, our country getting a referendum in which they will vote for an independent Ambazonia. If this is the objective, from what I've observed, all the leaders, they have this objective, and that is a common ground for us to unite and fight for our liberation. So I see it coming, because if they see a serious partner that is going to come in to mediate in this endeavor or to bring a dialogue, make dialogue a possibility, I don't see that we are not going to unite on this. This is going to bring unity amongst the leaders of the Ambazonian struggle.
Well, you know, there are groups among us who always believe that they alone can win this struggle and take Ambazonia or win Ambazonia for Ambazonians. These groups, when you invite them for unity talks, collaboration talks, they always stay away. Do you see the critical mass within the consultative commission that can speak for Ambazonia and these other groups become relevant if they are not willing to collaborate? I will pose a question to both of you.
Yes. Let me come in there. Yes, but they still need to do some hard work. They need to twist and break some arms for that to happen. And it's something that needs to be done. Because you cannot have a divergence of energy. I know the focus is the same, the objective is the same, but the energy is diversified and so diluted, and to the point where a single voice on an issue is so hard to get to there. Some individuals will choose to go right or left because another faction is already sitting on the left side or the right side, whatever it may be. So that is a possibility. But I will say here that with the advent of social media, we have individuals that think that they already have a country on social media, and they're already thinking that there is a country that is existing, and it has given so much energy to persons to get up and say things and say whatever they want because they know that they can't be held accountable for it today. Maybe tomorrow it will. And to respectfully appreciate the work of Thibault Nash that he's doing. And but again, I still see a lot of insults that are coming from people that think that they are working for the revolution, and they are saying the things they say to him. I just feel so sad that we are so morally bankrupt that we do not understand. I had a situation where somebody is trying to lecture Thibault Nash about democracy, and somebody that is in the diaspora and living in Thibault Nash country, and is trying to lecture him. It's just ridiculous how foolish and how we have get ourselves into. Some of them have gotten themselves in some cocoon in a bubble, and in that bubble they have their own alternative reality that they think that what they're thinking and doing is what is right. So it's just unfortunate, and these individuals apparently are those that are going to sit on the way for any unity at the level of the frontline leaders that are supposed to come on and sit down and talk and make things right. And it is very important that there should be some unity if people are hoping that somebody is coming somewhere to help you. But somebody's not coming to help you when you are so dispersed in your opinion and your energy. So I think it's a necessity, it's a must, and it should have happened yesterday. It's long awaited. Thank you.
Let
Well,
us
if I
hope
might have
that that is actually the case. Again, going back to all the tweets that we have seen out there by Thibault Nash talking about the chance, the opportunity for Ambazonians to unite and come together. He thinks that with the new Trump administration, Ambazonians have an opportunity, but again, he insists Ambazonians must unite. Ambazonians must unite to seize that opportunity. Now, he is speaking in the backdrop of Trump's first coming, when we have learned how Ambazonians were going there, going to the State Department and writing petitions on their own as individuals, and every time one will go walk out, the other will go walk out. And the U.S., the Congress was essentially like, we don't know who is who. We don't know who to address amongst you as you keep coming one after the other, representing different groups. And the question was, why can't you, Ambazonians, speak with one voice? I think this is the moment for Thibault Nash to come out and say, you guys have a chance. In the Trump administration, he is speaking as an insider, and I think we have to take him really seriously, really seriously. But again, the question is, how about Ambazonians as individuals? What role do they have to play in seeing that there is this unity? In my opinion, I think that every Ambazonian out there belonging to any of these groups, this is the moment you are saying to your leader, you have to join hands and work with other groups so that we can all, in one voice, one action, represent our cause before the U.S. government. Am I wrong in this?
No, you're not.
no.
You're not. You're not.
You
You're not.
you are not wrong, Comrade Chris. This is something that we need to actually push for it to happen. One thing that I've noticed is that some of these people have arrogated unto themselves some powers that are kind of fake in nature, to be like people who would stand and talk for the people. They go and deceive a few followers who are following them, and they are living. And I like the way Mr. Mekai put it, like the cocoon. They are living in their own world. They don't want to accept anything that is happening. They only feel like their opinion is very important, and that is the only thing they have to stick by. And you have seen that even with the formation of the consultative council, it has brought more light to things. And Comrade Chris, I would not like to point out at the meeting. You remember the meeting we heard, last meeting that we heard with some these people who came. You saw how different people came up with their own ideas, but we had a common opinion. And the common objective was received by the people who visited us. And they were very happy with the unity that was exercised there.
Yeah, I
So
think
it
they
is,
were very surprised to see that we
they
were
were
speaking with one
very
voice.
exactly. They called this one, they said yes. They called this one, they said the same thing. They called this one, they said the same thing. And you know, there is something that is very deceptive, that is disturbing us. That illusion that we are in the diaspora and we think that we are going to live from here and go in an independent Ambazonia in our position and take our respective positions like cabinet members, ministers, president. That is the illusion that is kind of disturbing, and it's really concerning to me because more Ambazonians are too full of themselves in a way that all of them want to be in position of power. Everybody wants to be president. Everybody wants to be a cabinet member. They just want to be there, to be something. And they feel that when
Waiting
ambassador
for
becomes,
that singular moment, waiting for that
yes,
singular moment,
singular
right?
moment to just march in and stand as a cabinet member, a minister of health, minister of this. That is not going to happen. It is not going to happen. We are doing this, and when Ambassador comes to fruition, all of us are going to go on the drawing board and start everything with the formation of political parties. Even if there's a transitional government that is going to be created in Ambazonia, it is going to be a government formed by the united forces. Everybody comes on board and they form that government to make sure that they pilot things and organize things in Ambazonia the right way. So if anybody is thinking that you are going to leave the diaspora and go there as a minister, then you are wasting your time. So it is time for us to go. And one good thing that I like is that gone are the days that people used to go to DC and knock people's doors. It's no more happening.
Yeah.
We are having a lobbyist who is going to stand for us and represent Ambazonia. People who go to DC and they're knocking offices, they are wasting their time. That era is long gone. Is long gone. We have to come in a different way. Things have changed. Time has changed things. So that is why we have to come together as Ambazonians, put our ideas together, and pass them through a lobbyist who is going to knock those doors for us. Without that, I don't think that knocking people's doors or congressmen or senators is going to help. It's not going to change anything.
Jackson, I like to hear your thought on this. Again, on the focus being on Ambazonians as individuals telling their leaders in their different groups, you do not support unity, united action, we forget about you. I think this should be the message that every Ambazonian send to their respective leaders, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but what what I'm going to say here is, if anybody is concerned about the chaotic situation that goes on in our region, if you have a little humanity in you, a little humanity, just a little, to see how the sufferings that are going on down there, your innermost soul should be telling you that you have to do everything for this thing to come to an end. Grandstanding is only making the situation worse. And I will let you know that some of these so-called leaders, I don't really blame them that much. I blame those sycophants that are pushing them, perpetrating some powers are making them believe that they have this illusion of a government, and it's not just them, it's individuals that think that they have to continuously tell lies, give some false um, position to these people to think that they are leading somewhere. And as I said, if you are a true person that you believe that you want to end the sufferings that are happening, and you've seen and noticed the killing like what we just said here, I think it is incumbent. It is very, very mandatory that you come together. You guys come together and see how they can resolve this problem as soon as possible. Especially, and it's very shameful. Let me say this here, and I don't care if I'm persecuted for it. It is very shameful for me to sit and watch somebody begging, asking you guys to come together, and you're unable to. Somebody who has no stake in what is happening in your country, in your place. You have a stake in what is happening in your place, but you don't have the ability to come together to fix it. And a foreigner is asking you to do the right thing. It's very shameful. It brings our level too low to human standards. It seems like we are so numb to all the killings that have been happening over there that we think that it's no more important to look for a concrete way to solve this problem. So I think it's very important that they come together, Secretary Comrade Chris.
All right. Please, if you can stay put in there, and I will get back to you when I open the phone lines. But in the meantime, when I come back, I will be joined with a special guest this evening. We will be talking about getting admission in American universities, getting admission in American universities. Please stay put. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level.
All right, thanks for staying put, ladies and gentlemen. My next guest is joining me here from Houston, and he is managing an NGO that takes care of students or manages students' affairs who want to attend American colleges and universities, and he is focused particularly on African students. I am talking of Evan Anderson. Evan Anderson, again, he is the founder of Umoja Educational Consulting, an education consultancy based right here in Houston. The mission of the NGO is to increase international student mobility from Africa to the USA. The company provides comprehensive college admissions, student visa, and adjustment support to students from Africa who want to earn a college degree in the USA. Umoja Education Consulting is a unique company as it exclusively serves African students and works to elevate the African diaspora. Again, his name is Evan Anderson. It's a pleasure for you to join me, sir. Good to see you.
Can you hear me, Chris?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Go on. Good to see you, sir.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell me a little bit the background to Umoja Educational Consulting or Education Consulting. Again, you are based out here in Houston, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Sure.
tell us a little bit
yeah,
about your education foundation or consulting.
Right. Absolutely. And I just want to clarify first that Umoja Education Consulting, we are an independent education consulting company, though we are not an NGO. We do work independent of school systems and government organizations. However, the organization is not for profit, but importantly, does strive for social impact. Okay, I do want to clarify that. The
Okay.
beginnings of Umoja Education Consulting arose out of a need to bridge gaps in the African diaspora. Right. I personally come from the diaspora located in the United States. Right. Of course, I can trace my ancestry as an Afro-American back to West Africa. I'm very involved with some very impactful African diaspora networking groups in Houston, and engaging with those groups arose a strong desire to, again, serve directly from the continent. And from an education consultancy standpoint, I really could serve any part of the world. And we're talking about international education, but I specifically chose to focus on the continent of Africa because of its unique needs, and also for desires to, again, serve and elevate the African diaspora, which is often overlooked when it comes to university admissions.
So for how long have you been doing this?
So the practice started last year, but we're ramping up this year. Currently, I'm working with a couple students from Ghana. But the first gentleman that I worked with was from Nigeria. And eventually, my intent is to have the consultancy work with students from all over Africa: West Africa, East Africa, Southern Africa, Central and Northern Africa.
Wonderful. I guess everybody out there would be interested to know what it takes to get your company to work with her or to work with a family member to procure an admission and a visa to come to the U.S. for studies.
Absolutely. So I'll talk a little bit about what we do really. So comprehensive in-house advising, right? So when you look at the college admissions process, particularly for international applicants, it's very complex. A lot of individuals are well versed in domestic admissions for U.S. colleges and universities, but there are many less who are well versed in the international piece. Many find it intimidating, particularly from the immigration standpoint and understanding the different needs of students who are coming from these countries around the world. Now, for those who don't know, the United States is the #1 destination for international study. A U.S. college degree is as popular as it ever has been before. In the last year, U.S. consulates and embassies around the world issued a record number of F1 visas, approaching 440,000 visas. Even Africa had a record
440,000.
visas, F1 visas last year. And even Africa saw a record number of visa issuances. Okay, so really comprehensive means the college admission side. It means giving support, step-by-step support for the student visa, primarily the F1 academic student visa, all right, for
Yeah.
academic and language training programs, right? My consultancy also offers post-arrival adjustment. That's a very unique service that's meant to increase the retention of our African students when they actually get to the United States, right? Many students have not touched foot in the United States before. Obviously, the films, they watch the Hollywood movies, but being here is different. It can be challenging from a language standpoint, from an academic adjustment standpoint, being away from family, right? So adjustment support, I feel is critical, which is why I created that service for our company.
So, of these 440,000 that got admission student visas into the U.S. last year, how many were Africans?
Sure. So those are merely visa issuances. That doesn't mean that the student actually attended the school.
Correct.
Okay. So there, obviously, there is a couple more steps between getting the student visa and actually coming to campus, right? And so there is some drop off naturally, right, in terms of finding funding, in terms of there being a change in the post-secondary plans, right? But there's a new report coming out through the Institute of International Education coming out this month that'll have a lot of data in terms of African international students for the academic year 2023 to 2024. Now, looking at the data from 2022 to 2023, we saw that out of about 1 million international students in the United States for that academic year, about 5.3% were from Africa, and that's about 50 to 60,000 students. Top 5 African countries for that same year were Nigeria, Ghana, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Kenya.
What, in your opinion, do you think are some of the obstacles that prevent lots of African students getting admission and actually moving to the U.S. for studies?
Absolutely. So, based off of my conversations with current and prospective international students and their families, really the 3 main challenges are finding schools, getting the visa, and funding for the education. Right.
Okay.
So it really is a 3-pronged approach that we have to take, which is why I offer comprehensive services through my company, not just finding and applying to schools. Right. The visa application process is crucial. Right. And so we offer step-by-step guidance, helping them understand what are the specific documents you need, monitoring the situations at the local U.S. embassies and consulates, making sure that they can get a good visa appointment time and that they feel prepared for that visa interview, which can be extremely short, can last 30 seconds, right? So want them to be prepared for that interview. And of course, the post-arrival adjustment piece, not letting them drop off into that first semester, right? So the research literature on African students says that some of the main challenges that they have are funding when they actually get to campus, feelings of belonging and feelings of connectedness on their campuses. So obviously the landscape of the United States is still very much individuals of European descent, right? And so the African American population is there, right? But depending on the campus that they go to, there likely are not going to be that many African students unless they are choosing a school that has a high number of international students, which we can help them find those schools. We can help them find schools of high cultural diversity. We can help them find schools that have a high number of international students. And in terms of the data, a lot of international students will be considered a school that has probably between 500 and up, right? There are quite a few institutions, but many actually have a relatively low number of international students, less than 100, right?
Yeah. So take us through the process, the step-by-step process in getting a student under your program to find admission, get a visa, move to the USA. What are the step-by-step process?
Absolutely. So it's relatively easy to enroll as a student with Umoja Education Consulting. Really, we offer a free introductory consultation. Right, there's no cost to the individual or the family for that first conversation. We have automated booking through our website. Individuals can schedule a half an hour to 45-minute meeting. I'll introduce the company, talk about their needs, they'll talk about what they need from us in the process. After that, we create a detailed digital consulting proposal, and that's sent out. As soon as the family or the student accepts that, um, and the particular package, then we go ahead and get started. Currently, we're offering packages for associate's degrees, 2 to 3 year degrees, bachelor's degrees, and master's degrees. Okay, so if you're looking at one of those types of degrees, again, associates, bachelor's, or master's, we can be a good fit for you, right? We can help find schools that fit your academic profile, also your price point, and many other factors that you might find important when looking at colleges and universities. Okay, so we bring you in to our program, and then we go ahead and get started right away. Now, right now is actually a very critical period to get started with applications as an international student. I actually would have said even last month we should have got started. So if we're looking at fall 2025 entry, which is going to be between mid-August and early September, right now is really the time to start. You might underestimate how much work it takes to start submitting these applications, right? Essential application pieces, we're talking about the digital application with the fee that will be submitted to the school, right? We're talking about any essays that are involved that might involve an interview if you're ultimately selected for the second round. It's going to involve a credential evaluation in many cases for our international applicants. And that's an area where many get stuck because they don't know where to turn to. One of our services is credential evaluation referral, right? So we recognize individuals across African countries come from many different types of education systems, right? The West African Examination Council, for example, or the Eastern education systems, the British systems, the French systems, right? We have some understanding of those, but we have a list of recommended agencies that we can refer students to get their credential evaluation, which they will need in many cases, especially if they want to get transfer credit. So when we talk about cost savings, that's a great way to work with our company. We can help you cut some costs throughout the admissions process, right, to lower that education bill, right? And a number of other strategies to make education more affordable. Okay, so once we get a number of applications out, we're looking for some key admissions, right? We can help find schools based off of their acceptance rate to make it easier for you to get admitted. Once that happens, you get a document called the I-20, right? You're going to use that to apply for the visa.
Okay.
Submit your fees, go for it. Once you
So,
get that visa, we're going.
living in Africa, living in Africa, one of the most difficult things for prospective students who want to come to the U.S. to do is getting somebody to actually get admission for them while they are still back home in Africa. So in that case, how do you help somebody? How do you help somebody in that case who is in need of traveling to the U.S. for education? What would your consulting services do?
Absolutely. So the main tool that we use to communicate with students is WhatsApp. You know, that's very big in Africa, right? So I always have my phone on me. So we recognize that, you know, quick communication, very clear instructions is essential for students, which many of our students come with an English language background, but not every student has the same level of English proficiency, right? So clear communication is crucial and a part of our consulting strategy, right? And now we're also looking at streamlining the application process, recognizing there are thousands of colleges and universities that students are eligible to attend as an international student. That's way too many for a student to make sense of. So again, that's where we come in at simplifying that list and coming down with a curated set of schools for students to apply to based off of their unique interests as a prospective student.
Okay. Let me also put it this way. There's a parent there listening to us back in Africa who wants to send a student to school here in the USA. Where should he start?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'll give you some rough costs, okay? And we're talking about cost of attendance based off of degree type, right? So if we're looking at associate degrees, those 2-year degrees that result in an Associate of Arts or Associate of Science, based off of data by the College Board, we're looking at about $27,000 cost of attendance, US dollars on an annual basis, right? For bachelor's degrees at public schools, we're looking at about 42,000. And then for master's degrees at public schools, we're looking at about 30,000 US dollars. So, with those numbers, you can do some online research and crunch some numbers on your own, but with that information, start to understand if it's a realistic possibility. Again, we can start to help you cut costs, look for affordable institutions, right? But there's going to be a threshold of preparation, financial preparation that families must come with, okay? We also will help students find scholarships and fellowships, including ways to pay in-state tuition, which can save thousands of dollars in tuition, right? But there's also going to be money dedicated towards the application process. On average, an international student application will cost between 50 and 90 US dollars.
How much is that?
50 and 90 US dollars.
50
per
or $90?
application.
Okay.
Yes, so that's important to note because there's many international students will go ahead and apply to 7, 8, 9, 10 schools or more, right? Students who have the money for that. And recognizing that many of our African students will be prioritizing their finances. Again, that's a reason to work with a consultancy is because we take targeted approaches to applying for schools. So with us, you will not be applying to 5 random schools that you found on the internet. You'll be applying to a curated list of schools that we came up with based off of your needs. Okay, so that's cost savings right there. We're not, what our main goals again is to help you cut costs during the application process to use your money towards classes and tuition, right? That's the end goal, to actually get a U.S. college degree, because again, it's one of the most sought after degrees in the world.
Do these students get any help in the area of tuition, or they all have to foot the bills? Because, back here in the U.S., many students will get grants, they will get scholarships, loans, and so on. What are the prospects for African students coming here to get grants, loans, scholarships to fund their education?
Absolutely. That prospect does exist. It does
And
exist.
does your program assist those students to in getting some of those grants, loans, and so on?
Yes. Yes, that is one of our services, the financial assessment and exploration. Now, with that service, there is an intentional approach about, again, lowering those costs throughout the entire admissions process and in the process too. So that comes with helping students find scholarships, right? We keep a small catalog of scholarships specifically for African international students. However, almost any school you're going to apply to is going to have scholarships available for international students. So we assist them with finding those scholarships on campus. We can assist them with finding campus employment, right, which is provided through the study visa. Students can work on average 20 hours a week during the semester or 40 hours during breaks, right? So there's built-in benefits of the F1 student visa, and we provide that education through our program. There's also ways to break apart your tuition payments when you actually come. Majority of schools will offer payment plans, so you don't need to pay your tuition all at once at the beginning of the semester. You can break it apart into 3, 4, 5 different payments throughout the semester. That makes it more affordable as well.
Okay. And does your organization have some kind of relationship with some of these colleges that you bring students into?
Mm-hmm. So that's the goal that we have for this coming year.
For the coming
is to
year,
build more
okay.
partnerships. Yep,
Okay.
build more partnerships with colleges and universities, especially in the Texas area. And Texas as a state has some of the most affordable colleges and universities. Texas also has some really good policies to where an international student, if they receive a competitive $1,000 or more scholarship through a school, a public institution, they only have to pay the in-state tuition. That's saving them thousands of dollars. And so by default, I imagine many of the students that we'll be working with in the next year will be coming to Texas, right? Not just because I'm meeting their family members here through networking, but also because, again, of the affordable education Texas has and some really great institutions. It's also one of the most diverse states in the United States and has one of the largest African immigrant populations.
So if you may, tell us about some of the most perceived difficulties by African students or foreign students in general that the thing make it difficult for them to get admission in the U.S. and how you have broken through some of those barriers.
Absolutely. So, challenges, I think, when you think about the United States, again, it's the amount of schools, some of the hesitation that's attached with the prestige. Am I good enough to come to the U.S. for study? And I say, absolutely, you are. Absolutely, you are. Right? Even if you come from, relatively modest beginnings, a U.S. education can change your life, and you absolutely belong on an American campus. We've seen record numbers of international students come to the U.S. As I mentioned in the previous year, we saw more international students from Africa coming to the U.S. too, right? So there's a question of if you're good enough. I say, yes, you are good enough. And our company is working with students from a range of different academic profiles, right? So even if you may have struggled a little bit in high school, we can find colleges and universities in the United States that you can be admitted to, right? Absolutely. If your profile is more competitive, right? If you're looking at more selective schools, we can definitely help you find those competitive schools to apply to, right? And we have some built-in services for students that are looking for those more rigorous schools.
All right. And what is the name of your website again for students to be able, prospective students to be able to look up what you are doing?
Absolutely. So the website is umojaconsultancy.com.
umojaconsultancy.com. Unfortunately, I hope that our technician can get that on screen. But again, it is umojaconsultancy.com. Where we put up that information is supposed to be on ABS website by now, but apparently our technicians have not gotten it up yet. But we will put that information after the show online, absafricatv.com, so you want more information on this subject, you can click on it and visit Umoja website to find out exactly the details of what they are offering. In the meantime, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to get out briefly, come back, and when I come back, I will open the phone lines and allow 2 or 3 questions for Evan to answer before he goes. So please stay put. All right, we are back, and you have the phone number right there on screen. If you have a question to ask Evan Anderson about the education services that they provide, please go ahead and you call that number. You will be here for the next 5 minutes before I let him go, so you can answer any of the questions that you may have. Evan, while we wait for the calls. The calls are coming in right away. Let me see. Hello. Hello.
Comrade Chris, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Comrade Chris, I'm calling from Gokutuja County.
Okay, and what is the question on your mind? I hope you are asking a question to Evan.
Yes, I want to ask him a question. The first thing is that is a preoccupation. His accent, his American accent, is making I, for one, not really get him well. I've not really got him well. The question is, Mr. Anderson, I don't know, do you people assist students to come to the U.S. school and pay you in course of the studies? And my second question is, do you people grant scholarships to students? That is all I have.
So I guess the question is, do you sponsor students to come to the USA and perhaps they pay back in the course of their studies? And are there scholarships, is it?
Is that
All
exactly?
right. All right. Anderson, please.
Sure. My apologies that you weren't able to understand me. So I talked about a few of those different issues. Okay. So we have upfront costs, right, for our consulting services, right? If you book a free introductory consultation, again, our consultations are free. We can talk to you more about our fee structure, depending on the type of degree you want. We offer support for associates, bachelor's, and master's degrees. When it comes to scholarships, we help students find
How
scholarships.
about a high school graduate?
Absolutely. We serve high school graduates who are looking for a college degree as their first
Right.
degree. Yes, we do serve high school seniors. Even if you graduated, but you haven't attended college, we can help you find colleges in the United States. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. And what would you say the process takes from the time somebody consults with you through to the time you get an admission and a visa for that student? What is the time frame that you're looking at?
Yeah, so we work fast. I work fast. Again, like I mentioned, right now is a critical time for international students to get started in the process. If we book an introductory consultation, you receive your consulting proposal within 36 hours after that. As soon as you accept your proposal, we get started. We get started with the next consultation, which is looking at the types of schools that you want to attend, right? Now, when we talk about the visa wait times will vary depending on the country that you're coming from, right? The U.S. embassies and consulate wait times, those will vary, right? It can range from, right, 10 days to a few months, right? So we have to make time in that process. That's why I encourage students to start as soon as possible, right? Even if you're not sure where to start at, come for a free consultation and we can start to give you a clearer understanding about what you need to do.
All right. Listen, I want to thank you for joining me on the show. In the absence of any other caller, we will call it there. But again, the website is ujomaconsultancy.com. Am I correct?
Yes, umojaconsultancy.com, or you can type in Umoja Education Consulting in your internet search bar. We should pop up.
Okay, and we will also, again, before the end of the day, have a link on absafricatv.com for the website where you can click through to, even if you want to get a phone number where you want to reach him on the website. I'm sure there's a phone number on your website too.
Yes, I do have a WhatsApp number. That number is on the
All right.
website.
All right. All right, thank you, Anderson, for joining me. I look forward to talking to you some other time.
Thank you.
All right, hold on. There may be, oh no, it's somebody here. So I think it's an error call. All right, great to have you. You have a great night. Great
You're welcome.
afternoon in Houston, not night yet. Okay.
ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level. Contact our advertising team at absafricativ@gmail.com. ABS can help you reach your target audience like never before. Advertising on ABS, you'll benefit from our extensive reach and dedicated viewership. We offer special advertising packages during primetime slots and popular shows. You'll also be featured on our social media platforms, reaching an even wider audience. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Take your business to the next level.
All right. Thank you for staying put out there, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, the phone line is open. You have a question on the show about anything we've discussed on the show. You are free to go on and call in now with your contribution. In the meantime, while I wait for your calls, I want to remind you again, if you are a writer or somebody interested in writing, or ABS Africa TV, we have revised our website, and we are now a daily news website. If you remember the days of the Cameroon Journal that I operated, it was the most up-to-date Cameroon news website in those days. But today, we're not just dealing with Cameroon, we are dealing with Ambazonia, we are dealing with all of Africa. That is why we are called Africa Broadcasting Service. So we are a daily breaking news website, and we are recruiting freelance reporters all over Ambazonia. If you live in any village, any town, any city in Ambazonia, and you can write. You don't have to be a journalist. For as much as you can write the facts, we can take care of the editing and the smothering of the language and the stories for you. This is a paid position. It's a paid position. We're not asking you to do offer free labor. But again, for those who can write publishable stories, if you are anywhere in Ambazonia, we implore you, you can write about things happening in your community, in your village, in your town. And again, you don't have to be a journalist. This is called community journalism. Community journalism. And if you cannot write, you find anything happening in your village, in your town, in your city, and you cannot write, just send us the facts of what you see. And we will get somebody to write, to report that story, and we will credit you for the facts. And if you are in La République du Cameroun, in Douala, in Yaoundé, in Bafoussam, anywhere in La République du Cameroun, and you also want to pick up reporting, freelancing for ABS, you are also welcome. We want stories on a daily basis. On a daily basis. And again, your services will be paid for. If you are one of those interested, the number on your screen, you can send me a message, a WhatsApp message using the number on your screen, and we will go from there. Again, freelance reporters. And I encourage every one of you, go ahead and visit absafricatv.com. Brand new and filled with a lot of breaking news and other opinion stories. You will love them. You will love them. It will also interest you to know that every talking point, every monologue that I present here on ABS is also now being published in Word format on the website. You can find the scripts on ABS website. Every talking point, every monologue I present here, unlike before, you can find the script of it on ABS website on the opinion column. The opinion column, you will find it there. But for now, again, the phone line is open. You want to contribute to this show to talk about Donald Trump, return to power. You want to talk about the United Nations getting Cameroon in the docket to answer questions to her human rights abuses. You want to talk about whatever is going on the ground in where we call the Federal Republic of Ambazonia and La République du Cameroun. You are more than welcome. The phone line is open. In the meantime, I will go back to my guest, Dr. Atienjo. Dr. Atienjo, let me ask you about the ongoings in La République du Cameroun as far as their transition is concerned. Last weekend, their prophet, who has never been listened to in that matter, talking about Diodone Isomba, went on television and basically said a bloodbath is on the way in that country in the absence of a transition program. We know that Biya is as good as dead. That is suppose he is still alive. I said yesterday, I have no doubt that Mr. Biya no longer exists. You can debate this with me. That is your opinion. I mean, that is your business. But Mr. Biya, there is no evidence. There is no evidence that Paul Biya is alive. We never saw him appear at the airport in Yaoundé. We've not seen him in any live event since they said he came back. In fact, only a few days ago, November the 6th, it was supposed to be the celebration, the anniversary, 42nd anniversary, 42nd anniversary of his ascension to power. Festivities and celebrations were being conducted in Yaoundé, and you would think that Paul Biya will show up and participate in the celebration of his own anniversary. He was nowhere. He was nowhere to be seen. And yet they want us to believe the man is alive and kicking. He is kicking in the coffin. That is my opinion. Let me bring in my panel back, Dr. Atienjo and Jackson. Please, Dr. Atienjo, give me your opinion about this supposed return of Paul Biya into, to La République du Cameroon. He hasn't been seen since then.
Well, Comrade Chris, I will say this. I share the same opinion with you. There was no evidence of Biya shown in any of those pictures or the videos that we watched, or any activity from him, like walking out of the plane or walking through the presidential lodge at the Basimalen airport, or going out to meet people. And then the videos that they showed were kind of very, very obscure. And and no evidence of him in any place. Like, even when they said they dropped him off at the Unity Palace, we were supposed to see some movement from him getting out of the car and walking into the Unity Palace. There was nothing like that. And up to now, nobody has said that he saw him doing anything. So I'm still of the opinion that Biya is not alive. And Cameroon is ruled by a group of people who have I would say that they have sequestered power and put everything is concentrated in their own hands. And they're using iron fist to actually rule the country. So it is a very turbulent situation given the transition. A lot is going to happen. And what Professor Esomba said, to me, it is kind of very, very obvious that there's a lot of confusion, which might end up erupting in a very, very chaotic and disastrous situation for the nation of Cameroon. So I don't think that we, over the Ambazonian, Federal Republic of Ambazonia, we have anything to do with that, because it is their own interest now. The interest of the Northeast is there, the interest of the Bamlikis, the interest of the people from the South, who are also divided. The Southerners and the Iwundos, they are kind of divided. The interest of the Douala man, all these people, these are all entities that are fighting to see that they ascend that position of power in Cameroon. So it is not going to be easy, given that the people of the northern region are feeling that this position was freely handed to him and he should give it back to them. Yeah, so there's a lot going on. The situation is a very dire situation, which we have to use our microscopic eyes to see what is going on. Yes, I agree. The situation, transition situation in Cameroon is not going to be an easy one. It might explode. They are trying to control it, deceiving people, deceiving the citizens of Cameroon, telling them stories. And the only string that is allowing that government to hang on is the fact that they are still paying salaries. The day they stop paying salaries in Cameroon, that is the day that that country is going to descend into chaos. It is already it's a failed country, but the failure is going to be precipitated by the day they run out of cash. So yes, the transition is very, very turbulent.
Don't you think they
Okay.
ran out of cash already?
Well, they ran out of cash, but you know the recent loan that they got, that money is what is sustaining them now. As soon as that money runs out, there will be no mercy for them because people are going to go without salaries. I read an article yesterday for, was it 18 months? If I stand to be corrected, CDC workers are complaining. That is a parastatal that was actually paying their workers well.
Yeah.
So the operations have been grounded in CDC, and their workers have gone for about 18 months. I stand to be corrected, but their workers have gone for many, many months without payment of their salary, payment of their salaries. So they are on strike now. And if you go to different local governments like the councils, there are a lot of councils that are not able to even pay their workers. Like for instance, the one in Gi, the workers are not going to work because the council they are owing them months and months of money, unpaid salary. So it is going to eventually develop into a nationwide crisis. And by that time, you'll see that that country is going to disintegrate, is going to be on their knees.
Comrade Jackson, where would you say Paul Biya is? I think you
Your
are
microphone.
muted.
I said he's hiding somewhere.
Somewhere where? In the grave?
Hey, see, Comrade Chris, the facts are that if Paul Biya was still alive, he should come out. He should be talking to his nation, uh, especially with the noise that went on and was widely reported by international and national media. Despite the fact that there was an injunction that was passed by Ghana Tango that nobody should talk about it. So, given that backdrop, there was the need for him to at least say something to show that he was around. Like last time, he said, "Je vous donne rendezvous. I'll give you guys rendezvous in 20 years." But this time he wasn't able to give a rendezvous. So, and then you mentioned the fact that his 42nd accession to power was being celebrated, and he was no show. And then I was listening to one of the top those Sundays shows in Cameroon, and there was one of the CPDM panelists when they told him that because the same question you are asking today are the same questions that are being asked in some of the television channels in Cameroon. When they talked to him that where is Paul Biya and he did not attend his own celebrations, and it was so pitiful the answer that the CPDM guy gave. He said, "Well, that did not stop us from eating and dancing. We enjoyed ourselves." That is how these people have been reduced to some singers eating and dancing and drinking and getting drunk because
It's all about bread and sardine for them, right? For as long as they have food and drinks to
yes,
to eat.
so yeah, they just live from hand to mouth. So now going back to what Mr. Is it Dr. Isomba?
Yeah, Dieudonné Essomba, yeah.
Dieudonné Somba said, yes, I've been following Dieudonné Somba on Vision 4 for some time. He is somebody that speaks his mind, and he speaks it very well. But the difference in this is that while other persons that will say something like what he said, and they will be persecuted for trying to destabilize the country because that's the word they use over there. When you say something like this, they say you're trying to destabilize the country, and that's enough reason to charge you for treason or insurrection, as they put it over there, and you'll be charged. But Dieudonné, I believe because of where his birth certificate is and his DNA is, they are unable to do nothing to him. But his assertion, his assessment of the situation, I think you don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand that the situation over there is very dire. And I will tell you that the disappearance of the president is right now at, let me come up with this wild conspiracy, is that they might be trying to build up a prototype that will represent him so that he can stand for the elections in 2025. Because if that not be the case, what are they? Why are they still waiting to announce that he is not able to assume the functions of the president? Yeah. So Jirone Somba, coming back to him, Jirone Somba has just made a very good assessment of the situation, given the fact that we have heard voices, dissident voices from the north, that are expressing the opinion that they want to be where they are. We know that there's a division that the central administration has various factions that are trying to clamor for power, and we know that there were recently. When was that? About 2 days ago or 3 days ago, they seized a heavy amount of ammunition that were being shipped from the north to Yaoundé.
Oh, is that?
And
I have not heard about that.
yes, actually, it was
And
so it was on the
who
news.
was shipping it?
That information they did not display it, but display the pictures of what the custom that they were think the custom officer, because a statement came out from the finance minister Motaze, which means that the custom and border officials in Cameroon are under the Minister of Finance. I didn't know that. That is then he sent out a statement congratulating them for the good job. So if you see this type of ammunition that are already being trafficked shipped around the nation going to Yaoundé, so it goes to confirm what Jerone Somba is saying, and it's a very perfect assessment, except things are handled differently. But if they are not, I think it is an obvious conclusion that situations are going to go down the drain when that grand soir, as they call in French, arrives.
Now, one surprising factor here is the silence of the Cameroon opposition. You barely hear them saying anything about this so-called transition and even elections that Paul Biya and his cronies they are setting up. I don't know. Do you have the sense that they are prepared for any eventuality? I mean, anyone,
No,
be it the
no,
disappearance of Biya or these elections?
no. See, Secretary Chris, the opposition in Cameroon have been beaten to submission. Those are just the tenets of autocracy. They've been beaten to submission, and for the fact that Kamto, who is the prominent member of the opposition party, choose to go and live in Santa Barbara in Yaoundé instead of living in the West, where he has his majority of his constituents. That's how you get protection and power from your people. But he choose to live in Yaoundé, where the least noise from him, he gets surrounded by the military. So Kamto is just a toothless bulldog right now, and then being locked up. You remember when they were picked up for insurrection,
Right.
and since then they are still locked up. And for them, there's nothing they can do. But I was following a situation where the opposition were trying to come up with a united front. But that united front, the regime in Cameroon, because they've been in power for so long, they have a tendency of divide and rule, which is something that they have even used in the diaspora to separate the freedom fighters out in the diaspora, and they use it effectively on the bus. The bus, Brigadier Anti Sadina. They infiltrated it, used the divide and rule and crumble it. the Ambazonians are standing today because at least there is a conviction in what they are doing. There's a conviction in what they're doing. That's why the remnants, the factions that are in Ambazonia are still standing. So the Cameroon government has used that same approach to divide the oppositions in Cameroon. And that's why you see the second leading opposition party of this young guy from Bassa, what's his name?
Cabri.
Cabral, yeah, Cabral Libi, and the founding father of that party, the CPDM party sponsored him to overthrow him because he was already a menace to the government and was already trying to form a coalition of the opposition parties. So now they have to prop him up to say that this is his party. Cabral Libi does not have any right. Meanwhile, Cabral Libi is the legal president of that organization. I'm not going to say the legitimate, is a legal chairman of that organization. And so that is how, at the end of the day, we know the opposition parties in Cameroon, they end up being fragmented. And of course, most of them are hungry too, just like what Kole Dasala and the this other man of UNDP they did back in the 90s during the days of the Frundi, and they end up being hungry. Frundi himself ended up very hungry too, and to get divided, and Pobia continue to rule.
All right, take a moment, hold it there. Let's get to this caller, comrade, before we get back to you. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Ground Zero.
From Ground Zero. Okay, and what is on your mind?
Yeah, what is on my mind is that about the Trump nomination, that Trump is the president of America today. I believe this is a very good opportunity. This is a God-given opportunity for us, the Ambazonian people, to rally up ourselves, gather up ourselves, speak in one voice, and make our decision and our cause being known in the U.S. government, so that our people might be free from this bondage that La Republic has put us into. Our people are dying every day. They are killing our people in such a as if we are not human. As if we are not human. So I'm pleading for all the group leaders that if they can sit together and feel the pains that we here on Ground Zero, we are feeling the pains and the heat. Let them do something, because we are dying. All of us are dying. People are losing their life each and every day, each and every hour, each and every moment on Ground Zero. They are killing us in a brutal way, not just like something that they have sympathy on us. Even the way that they are killing chicken is not the way that they are killing us. The way they are killing is more than the way they are killing chicken. So I'm begging that you people up there should gather and unite and speak in one voice. As Trump is on that seat, I believe that this 2025 will be a good year for Ambazonia to be recognized all over the world. And then again, this is another my take of about Pobia, the president of La Republic. For me, that man is not alive. How can they be celebrating your birthday and then you are nowhere to be found on your birthday? Nobody saw him. And then they are saying that person, the man is alive. That man is not alive. So that is my own point of view about his birthday issue, because you cannot be celebrating your birthday and then you are nowhere to be found. So that is my own point of takes. Please, thank you very much, sir.
What did CRTV report about the absence of Paul Biya on the celebration of his ascension to power?
It's just politics.
Okay.
What is just politics? That is foolishness. There's nothing they can say. They already know what is happening. So there's nothing they can say. We all know the truth. Yes.
All right.
We all know the truth.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for the call. Let's hope that Ambazonian leaders can hear voices like yours calling from ground zero and appealing for unity and collaboration to seize this moment to do something that changes the direction of this liberation war. Dr. Atienjo, there is a coalition on the ground. I don't know whether Jibril that you guys are talking about is part of the coalition, but that coalition has picked Akere Mona to represent them as the unique candidate. We know that, they were trying to coerce, what is his name again? The popular guy, that the Bamleke guy. What is his name again? Kamto. They were
Maurice
trying to work with Kamto to get his support for the coalition. I guess, like the SDF was doing in those days, Kamto said no. And also Joshua Osi of the SDF is also saying, nah, I'm not, we're not getting into any coalition for any election. Who curse all these people? That they can, for selfish reasons, just like Ambazonians. I guess living for so long with the Republic of Cameroon, Ambazonians have bought into that selfishness and greed that they cannot work with others for the common good. They cannot. So, what do you think? Do you see that going anywhere in the situation where Akere Mona is being pushed to become some unique candidate, Dr. Atienjo?
Well, I would say that that is already a failed plan. That's a bridge to nowhere on the part of opposition. I don't think that Cameroon has, the electoral process in Cameroon is genuine. There's no transparency, and they can build all sort of castles, and all these castles are built in the air. The opposition coming to the opposition on the ticket of Akere Mona running as a unified candidate for the opposition. Where is even the opposition in Cameroon? There's no opposition in Cameroon. They have been depleted. Because we used to think about MDR, which is it MDR or MDC or whatever, the party of Kamto, that had a little bit of voice. It's been obliterated, and there's nothing. The least you can hear about is just the noise from a few Bamileke people that will talk about that party. SDF is completely dead. I don't even hear anywhere that the SDF is functioning. Nothing, except for the fact that Joshua Osi is there in the parliament, and I don't know what they are representing and who they are representing. I don't know. So it's completely something that is not going to work. You can even look at the picture that is painted. Akere Mona, even as a unified candidate, is not even going to do anything because he doesn't have the support. Which constituency? I mean, he comes from, let's say he comes from Momo Central constituency. And under which party? We don't know party. We don't know his party affiliation. And he doesn't even, when is the last time he even went there? Nothing. So when you look at things like that, it's just something that is not going to work. It's already failed. Yeah. They're just trying to push these things and make as if it is something that they are going to do, and trying to deceiving Cameroonians. And who knows? These people might have been sponsored by La République, so that they can put some kind of some level of competition on the table, so that La République can go with their narrative that they are practicing democracy, that at least somebody ran against the CPDN candidate, whoever is going to be the CPDN candidate. That is what they are trying to do. And at the end of the day, they will say, oh, we tried, and they will just do things like that and brush things off. They are on the same bed with La République. So it is a failed mission. Nothing like that is going to happen.
So assuming Biya is out of the picture, I'm asking, this is the devil's advocate here, assuming Biya is out of the picture, what do you think the opposition would do in the situation where Frank Biya is, like in the Congo Democratic Republic, Joseph Kabila, where Frank Biya is brought in to replace Mr. Biya without even a vote?
Well, they already manufactured their elections. I mean, if you have all these things, they've already manufactured everything and put in place. So when that time comes, even if it were not even from Bia, or even you can even call the young the son of the wife, the how do you call him, the junior man, the junior. Bia Junior, if you can even put any candidate there, once you are under CPDM, you are going to eventually be the victor of the election. Because it's not, there's not, what are they scared of? Cameroon is not scared of any country. La Republica is not scared of anybody. When they rig the elections, they do it without fear of anybody. Look at the the senatorial election that took place. They swept everything. Even they were even some of them that were arguing that, oh no, we when we are doing taking this seat, we should just give some to the SDF or to the opposition so that they can feel like there's some kind of. But they swept everything before they went on negotiating for the president to appoint some other people. So it is something that is not, whoever stands as a candidate for the CBDM will always be the victor of the election.
All right, Jackson, last word on this subject, please. I think you are muted.
Your mic.
My last word on this, as Fidelis is saying, elections have never been anything to write home in Cameroon. And I will tell you that the fact that they are the whereabouts of Paul Biya is still kept a secret is because they are trying to fine-tune the system going into election so that whoever they're going to put there is just going to be a charade and is going to win the elections. So, and coming back to the issue of opposition, as you asked, Barrister Kerimona, I like him. I love him as a person. I love him as a lawyer as he is, and some of the things, the cause he's been championing, like the this British oil thing, the embezzlement that took place in NIH in Yaoundé. He's doing this thing very well, but I see him as a spoiler because you cannot, I don't even know how in his right mind he's going to accept to stand as a unique candidate for the opposition when he has not even been an opposition in the opposition seat in any form or shape. To him to accept that, to me, is a way of killing the process and disrupting the whole thing. Because for a fact, we know that
Didn't Akere Muna contest elections in their last presidential election? In one party like that? I think so, right?
Yes, he did. That lost even in Bengui.
Oh, in his
Where
own constituency. That is like me going to the BLM and standing election and nobody votes for me in the BLM.
He lost in his house, in his family house. He lost there.
Okay.
Yes, I cannot lost in Bengui. So I have a friend that we usually mock him on that. So, but he lost that. So, but my point is, after that, he went quiet. He doesn't have a constituency, and for him to accept to do that, to me, is he doesn't like that.
He has a constituency among the elite.
We don't know who the elites are because
we don't know.
All the elites in Bengui and in Bengui Central subdivision, or whatever you call it, is all CPDM. So I would have thought that in his right mind he will ask come to who has at least some people behind him, because when you look at a neutral candidate, you are not thinking how are the people that are following these people that have followers, how are they going to feel? Even if Kamto comes tomorrow and tell his followers vote for him, that doesn't directly translate into votes. So
exactly.
But just like Dr. Fidel is saying, some of this thing is the working of the government of Cameroon. And as we said, elections can never bring change in Cameroon. Quote me today. Elections can never bring change in Cameroon. For 42 years, the system has been worked to produce the results we are getting today. And they are going to continue to put. Pobia can even stay in his mortuary bed and still win elections in Cameroon without even going out,
Yes.
without nobody seeing him. And he's still going in, if his name is on the ballot, he's still going to win the presidency. Trust me and take my words to the bank.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to leave it there and call it a night. Thank you for joining me, and you stay safe out there.
Thank you.
All right. In the next 5 minutes, I will once more open the phone lines. If you want to call in and make a contribution in the next 5 minutes, you are able to do so. But before you call, please make sure that the volume of your set, the volume of your television is turned down before you place your call. The number is right there on your screen. I'd like to hear from you, especially if you are on ground zero and if you are in the USA. I'd like to hear what you think about the need for every Ambazonian who belongs not just to the interim government but any other group, the need for them to pressure their leaders to come together, join the consultative commission. Let us speak with one voice and act as one man as we approach the USA to support us, to help us in this diplomatic fight with La République du Cameroon. Thibault Nach says, we have an opportunity. That opportunity is in coming together as one man to approach the Trump administration to see if we can derive some help. Again, I need to remind you that for the 8 years and counting we've had this fight going on, only the Trump administration did something, at least its widow's might, to help Ambazonia. And now that he is back in office in January, we're hoping that he will pick up from where he left. So, but for that to happen, that idea that Ambazonian leaders walk to Congress, walk to the White House as individuals, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It will not work. The time has come for us to come together and be part of the consultative commission that is speaking and acting as one that represents Ambazonia. And the role that you as an individual can play is to tell who you pay your loyalty to is, hey, the moment has come, join others. If you don't join others, I will not give you a dime to do anything. That is for those who are truly fighting for a free and independent Ambazonia, because as Dr. Atienjo said a minute ago, it's not everybody who is in this thing who wants a free Ambazonia. They want a free Ambazonia, but they are looking forward to some maybe positions ahead. The moment they get to Boya, they hope to become ministers, they hope to become directors or presidents. That is why we have so many presidents in Ambazonia, for a country that is yet to have its flag raised at the United Nations. President Sisiko, President Sako, President Marietta, President Chris Anu, but you all know I'm a comrade, right? I'm just a comrade here. I'm just like one of you out there. And few months to come, I will be out of here to hand it over to somebody to continue to do this work. I was elected under those terms to be here for 3 years, and I will not be here for another 1 month. Once those 3 years are over, I will be handing back to somebody. I've already asked the Restoration Council to start planning for elections to replace Chris Anu. And I think it should be exciting for everybody out there to know that no one person, no matter how brave, intelligent, smart he or she may be, cannot think that without him or her, Ambazonia will not survive. Please, I am appealing to you. If you are a true Ambazonian, tell your leaders the moment is now for them to come together Be part of the consultative commission and let us, as one man, one power, approach the new U.S. President Donald J. Trump. The phone number is open, and I'm expecting to hear from you, especially if you are on ground zero or in the diaspora. I want to hear from you on the subjects we have discussed today. And I'd like also to remind you of the fact that ABS is recruiting freelance reporters all over Ambazonia. ABS is recruiting freelance reporters. You don't have to be a professional journalist or reporter to apply. If you are capable of writing, there are lots of you young graduates out there in Boya, in Bamenda, in Yaoundé, who have nothing to do. It's an opportunity for you to make some money by the wayside. So we're encouraging you, if you live anywhere in Ambazonia, in any village, town, city, enclave, things are happening in your community. You can write it and send it to us. If it is published, you are paid for it. The same thing if you are in Yaoundé, you are in the Douala, Bafoussam, anywhere in that country. You can pick up your pen and be a reporter. And so the number on your screen, if you are interested in this opportunity, the number on your screen, you can send me a message through that number, and I will carry on the conversation with you in that format. So in the absence of any phone call, my 5 minutes are exhausted, and I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being part of the broadcast today. I look forward to being here on Friday. However, only by God's own grace. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you all. Good night.